Sage Mode, besides the various dojutsu of the series, remains as one of my favorite techniques. I always loved the concept of drawing in chakra from outside oneself, gaining animalistic traits, and I personally believed that Sage Mode was perhaps the only thing Naruto ever needed to be strong, and personally why I think that even without Kurama, Naruto is still the strongest ninja. But all things considered, Sage Mode is a powerful technique that, depending on who teaches you, depends on what type you get. Naruto originally learned from the Toads, but I wonder what would happen if he learned all 3 modes. Well, honestly, it probably wouldn't be super interesting as it's just new Sage modes, but I wish to tell an interesting story. So how about I do something that's a little more fun than that? Welcome to the Amagi! Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed, and with that out of the way, let's get into the video. The wind blew down from the mountaintop as thundering clouds swirled about them. In the distance, in a tree of the forest, a monkey sat upon a branch, looking. The wind blew down with great force, nearly knocking the monkey from its perch. A voice seemed to whisper from this wind, "Finally, my chains are breaking." But let's not get ahead of ourselves. After all, we haven't yet set the world or even introduced our hero. Now, in a certain forest within the land of fire lived a group of monkeys. Not just any monkeys though, these were capable of speech and walking on their hind legs. They were intelligent monkeys, and many humans considered them to be great sages. Many humans often came to learn from them, but so few were deemed worthy to learn of their arts. The Monkey King, Enma, would not let a human touched by greed learn their techniques. Enlightenment was for those who could give up all earthly desire and blur the lines between oneself and the world around them. And so he sent them away. No human is worthy to learn from the monkey sages, to achieve enlightenment, none at all. Or so he had believed. One day his guards spoke to him and told him that something was happening in the jungles nearby to their home, a crying sound echoing out from the furthest reaches. And so Enma grabbed his staff and began to head out with his guards. They led him through trees and bamboo groves, up mountains, and finally to a rocky outcropping. Enma could hear it now, wailing. They followed the sound further until they came to a stop by a cleft in the stones. And there, within, was a tiny child, swaddled and left alone, perhaps abandoned. But who would bring a child up to these mountains, to the home of the monkey sages? Why would someone do such a thing? Enma looked around for any sign of a person, any trace of a chakra signature, any scent of a human, but found nothing. He lifted the child up into his arms to see the watering blue eyes of a little blonde infant. Could have been no older than a few days, 2 weeks at the most. Enma once more felt a distaste in his mouth from humankind and their greed and selfishness, insomuch that a person would so willingly throw an innocent child away, as if they never mattered, as if they never existed. The child was cold to the touch. Fear of hypothermia began to cross the mind of the Monkey King. Enma would open up the chest of his robe and pull the child in, closing it over the child to bring it warmth. Together with his guards by his side, Enma would begin to make his way to the home of the monkey sages. Upon returning, Enma and the eldest monkeys of the little village hidden in the treetops began to discuss what to do about this. Considering their stance and refusal to teach humans their techniques, it was believed that it would be best to return this child to the world of humans and allow them to take care of him. Enma, however, had a different idea. "I will not return him to the world of humans." "What?" each of the elders said, with even the silent servants nearby showing a startled expression. "But he is human. He deserves to be where the humans are. We're monkeys. Our worlds are entirely different." Enma refused this though. The humanity this child supposedly belongs to threw him away, as if he never existed. If that is the way that humans have become, then truly they have turned completely to greed and selfishness, and are not worthy of handling this child. He is innocent, and knows no fault. I will not condemn him to a life of loneliness or a death from neglect. Even if he's not a monkey, I will raise him like one. Enma, I understand your beliefs on this, but no human has ever been worthy of our teachings since the era of Hashirama Senju. This child will only disappoint you. Enma shook his head as he looked at the child in his arms. Whether he disappoints me or not is no matter. He will be cared for by me, if for no other reason than to slake my own conscience. The elders shook their heads in disapproval, something Enma understood. Since the passing of Hashirama Senju, those who had the map of the Monkey Kingdom had all become completely unworthy, using their teachings for evil and self-profit. But he felt in his heart that this was different. "What will you name the child?" the monkeys asked. Enma held up the child. "We found him in the clefts of a mountain, near the roaring waterfalls and the eddied river. The child bears upon him the heavenly mark of the whirlpool. For that reason I will call him Naruto, Naruto of the heavenly Uzumaki stamp." The eldest monkey would sigh. "Do as you will. You're king of the monkeys, Enma. If you believe that this human child is worthy to live here with us and learn of our techniques, then we trust you." And with that, the meeting was over. Enma would keep the child close and would bring it the fatted milk of cows to keep it healthy until it could handle something a little bit harder. The child grew stronger and eventually began to speak. His eyes were wide with wonder, and yet his mind could not grasp that he was not a monkey. Enma smiled to know that he was correct. A human child was not selfish by nature. It was an inherited trait, something it learned to do from its peers. Perhaps he is worthy to learn. Enma would sit down and explain to him the treasured technique passed down from generation to generation. True enlightenment, the ability to become one with all things. It is more than just meditation, Naruto. You must feel the world around you. Feel the life within you. You must lower your guard and reach out. Reach out to what is beyond yourself and give freely to those things. And in return, those things will give to you. Pull it into yourself. Become one with nature, but do so with caution and with balance. For if you take too much, if you become too selfish, you will become as the unworthy humans and turn to stone. Naruto had an issue finding balance. He would attempt to pull the nature energy into himself, but as he did so, he would develop more and more monkey-like features, until he grew close to turning to stone. It would be then that Enma would cast the chakra out of Naruto by striking him with a staff that could negate jutsu. "Naruto, careful, you nearly turned to stone. You must focus. Do not take so much in at a time. It should supplement your power, but it should never exceed what you have. For as much yin energy and yang energy as you have within you, you should only put that much nature energy in. Exceeding this limit will cause an imperfect sage mode, and while you will gain more monkey-like physical traits, you will ultimately become weaker for it. Balance. Remember to be balanced. Do not let greed consume your heart, or it will consume your body as well." Naruto would nod. "Yes, father, I won't let it happen again." And he didn't. Naruto did not allow it to happen again. He slowly but surely began to master the technique, and it became obvious that he had done so when dark marks appeared under his eyes and near his nose that arched over his cheeks towards his ears. A single circle with a single dot in the center appeared on his forehead. The monkeys had come to call that the third eye, which symbolized that one had achieved enlightenment and perfection of the sage arts. Naruto was excited to see it appear. He had officially learned how to master Sage Mode. He immediately showed Enma, "Look, father, I did it! I mastered Sage Mode!" Enma would look upon Naruto and see the markings. "No, you have perfected Sage Mode. Mastery takes a lifetime and can never truly be achieved, as there's always a way to become better than yourself. But I will admit you've perfected this quicker than most monkeys do. But I will not let you graduate from your apprenticeship just yet." Naruto was confused. "Wait, why?" "Because you have yet to take the final test." This only further confused Naruto. "Final test? What final test?" Enma would snap his fingers. One of the monkeys would enter the room carrying a small stone dagger. He'd offer it to Naruto. Naruto would see the blade. It was a single piece of flint that had been fashioned into a double-edged dagger. Naruto looked at the dagger and then up at Enma, who spoke. "As of late, there is a tiger who's been stalking our village at night." Naruto was confused. "Wait, but how's that possible? We're so high up in the trees." Enma sat forward. "That's the thing. This tiger has managed to climb up here. It's believed by the elders that this tiger has somehow achieved a form of enlightenment through sage chakra. It's been climbing up here and hunting during the night. At least 3 baby monkeys have been devoured in the past 2 months. Your final test is to go out, use everything we've taught you, find the tiger, and kill it. Bring us its head as proof. If you do this, we will consider you worthy of graduating from apprenticeship and consider you a true monkey sage." Naruto looked at the dagger. He affixed it to his belt. "I won't fail you, father. See that you don't," Enma said as he sat back upon his throne. "You may exit the village as soon as you're ready." Naruto would leave his father's palace and step out. The trees were large and this little village sat at the top. Tree houses were the norm and they were everywhere. These tree houses were then connected by wooden walkways that crossed from one tree to another. That was to make it easy to get around. But to be frank, few people used these walkways. They were only for those who felt particularly lazy, for elderly monkeys and pregnant mothers. Most able-bodied monkeys simply jumped out and grabbed onto the many long and strong vines that hung down from the treetops and swung from tree to tree. Naruto was no exception. Like a true Tarzan, he swung from one tree to the next until he got to the food storage hut. This was the place where gatherers brought food and water, where wine, sake, and salted meat was made. All of it piled to the ceiling, free to use, no payment required. This village was a single unit, and selfishness had been banished from their hearts by virtue of their sage status. It was odd that the tiger would neglect the food storage building, which was intentionally set away from the residential area specifically for this reason. Instead, the tiger attacked children. Was it for sport? For the thrill of the kill? Perhaps it hated salty or sweet food. Whatever the reason, Naruto found it odd that this place could be denied attention by the tiger. It confirmed in Naruto's heart that this tiger's actions were willful and malicious. He would take down the bag from his shoulder and would put fruit and meat inside of the pouch before grabbing a skin of water. This was just in case he was out for longer than a day or two. That way he would have enough resources to survive on his own for a time. Naruto would then head to the edge of the village and would descend to the jungle floor and begin his mission. He would run through the forest, jumping over logs and ducking under branches. He would sleep under the stars at night from a hammock in the trees, and in the mornings would continue his quest. He knew for certain that the tiger did not exclusively eat monkeys, so it needed to eat something else. Given that the tiger itself was a carnivore, that meant that it would likely hunt for other animals. So Naruto began to search the hunting grounds that he knew for any sign of the creature. Coming through the various hunting grounds, he found many dead animals, but by looking at them, he could tell that some had been killed by bears, others by wolves, but no tigers. That was until he came across a fresh deer carcass by the riverbank. He would stop and look closely at the carcass. The markings were the proper shape and size of the average tiger, if not slightly larger. Naruto knew he was close. He looked up and around and activated Sage Mode. He sensed for chakra but didn't feel anything yet. He sniffed the air and caught a whiff of something vaguely feline. It was on the other side of the river. So Naruto began to jump from stone to stone until he reached the other side. He began to follow the scent which led to the forest, but here he began to smell multiple tigers from every direction, so there was no way to know for certain which tiger it was. He looked around and found tracks for a tiger about as big as the one that had killed the deer just a little ways back. He followed it and then lost the tracks. He looked around for any sign to continue tracking. He found a snapped tree branch at about the height of a tiger he was tracking and followed it there. He once more found tracks, this time having stepped through mud. Due to this, he assumed it would be easier to follow. Following these tracks, however, they made their way to a tree and began to ascend it vertically. Naruto saw this, how the tracks moved straight up a sheer surface, and knew deep in his heart that this tiger was the tiger. He began to mimic it, walking up the vertical surface by pooling the chakra in the soles of his feet. He followed it up and into the trees. Once there, he knew that the tiger had to be using chakra to do this, so he began to sense for it. He sensed a chakra nearby. Strong concentrations of natural energy mixed with personal energy, sage energy. He followed the chakra deeper into the jungle until it led to a darker part of it, overshadowed with thick overgrowth. Barely any sunlight could penetrate this thick underbrush. Naruto found himself in the center of a clearing surrounded by vines and roots and low-hanging branches. He sensed a heavy conglomeration of sage energy in the area, but the trail then ran cold. He looked around and sniffed. He smelled the scent of tiger everywhere. The trail hadn't run cold, it had led him right into the very heart of this tiger's territory. And Naruto could sense that he wasn't alone. He looked around closely until he saw a pair of eyes glowing in the darkness. "What brings a little hairless macaw into my domain?" the voice said in a deep bass tone, not too unlike a tiger's growl. "Who are you?" Naruto demanded. "I am called many things by many creatures, but most commonly I'm called Satsujin, the tiger sage." "How did a tiger learn sage mode?" Naruto demanded. The voice in the darkness laughed. "Learn. Do you monkeys believe you hold a monopoly on the natural world? Tigers instinctively tap into nature energy. Perfectly. How do you think we get our stripes?" Naruto listened closely. "Satsujin, have you been going into the village hidden in the treetops and killing infant monkeys?" I prefer to call it a snack run, the tiger retorted with a snort and a cackle. Naruto grit his teeth and pulled from his belt the flint dagger. Oh, what's that? This monkey has no fangs, so he must rely upon a handmade tool. Pathetic. Go home, you hairless chimp, before I grow hungry and decide to prove why it is the tiger is king of the jungle and not the monkey. I won't leave here until I've taken your head from your shoulders. There was a low growl and then a cat of prey's cry. I'll enjoy ruining you. I won't even eat you. I'll simply maul you to death and drag you, unrecognizable, back to your damn village. The tiger roared and jumped into the center of the area, causing Naruto to recoil slightly. It began to circle him, and he did the same in return. He held his blade tight, the dagger's tip facing the tiger straight. The tiger charged in, but then feinted back as Naruto swung his blade at air. The tiger laughed. I sense a great sage's potential within you, but a warrior, you're not. Try me, Naruto demanded. The tiger rushed in once more and then rose upon its hind legs to use its weight to add power to the strike. Satsujin would then knock the blade from Naruto's hand to the grass. Naruto took a look at it as Satsujin drew closer to him. Naruto began to walk back before walking up the vertical surface of a tall tree. The tiger began to follow him up, taking simple steps, his entire body weight easily held by the chakra circulating at the bottom of his 4 paw pads. Naruto continued to retreat up the tree. Nuh-uh-uh. I wouldn't do that, little bald monkey. In the trees, you only have a limited number of places to run. That means you have a limited number of places to chase me, Naruto retorted. He jumped from the tree to a nearby branch. He nearly slipped as he heard a crack. The tree limb was not super stable. He walked across the branch to the other tree trunk. Satsujin jumped to the tree limb as well, causing another crack to be heard. It began to approach Naruto. Naruto looked around for some place to go, but realized he had walked himself into a corner. He looked around and found another tree branch broken off and sharpened at the end. He pulled it from the tree to use as a weapon. Satsujin laughed. What is a monkey with a single pointed stick going to do against a tiger with 5 sharp claws at the end of its paw? You truly are a fool. Naruto looked around and noticed the fracture at the base of the tree limb. He got an idea. He began to jump up and down on it, causing the limb to shake. What are you doing? Satsujin demanded. Naruto kept jumping on it until the branch snapped. Satsujin began to fall, and Naruto caught himself slightly on the trunk of the tree. The tiger hit the ground hard, and contrary to popular myths, he did not land on his feet. Seeing him dazed and injured from the fall, Naruto took his chance and jumped down, dropping onto the tiger's chest, crushing his ribcage under his knees. He then raised the wooden branch and drove it into the tiger's stomach. As the wood went in, blood gushed out. Naruto was breathing heavily, hands coated in blood, and by this time the tiger had already gone limp and silent. Naruto looked back at its face to see its eyes glazed over. Satsujin was dead. Naruto rose from the tiger and stood. He felt his heart racing. He felt his heart beating in every part of him. His body had a cool to it emanating from the inside. He looked down at his hands and found splinters and cuts from the tree he had gripped onto, but he didn't feel pain. But he knew he soon would. He took this moment to clean his wounds. Once his wounds were dealt with, he would grab his flint dagger and look back at the remains of Satsujin. He would stand and wipe his upper lip with his forearm before slowly approaching the tiger. Kneeling down, he got to work. Enma was sitting there on his throne. The elder sages came to Enma. "Milord, it's been 3 days. The child is surely dead." Enma shook his head. "No, Naruto possesses a strength unseen in man or monkey. I believe in him. He will return to us victorious." Despite his words, Enma did have some worry. Enma's love of Naruto had grown so deep, and even now he was terrified that the elders were correct. What if Naruto was dead? What if he had been killed by the tiger he was tracking? What if he were killed? He tried to push these thoughts from his mind and fill his head with faith in the one that he had chosen as his son, but all the same, the fear persisted. What if? Those questions were all that was in his head. And despite his posture of unwavering trust in his boy, he was sweating. Just under his fur, he was sweating. That was until a voice cried out, "Naruto is returned! He's returned!" Enma was immediately out of his seat. He began to make his way outside where he saw a group of simians grouped together. Enma stood there and watched as the crowd parted ways. Naruto stepped out from behind the monkeys. Enma was amazed by all of this. As Naruto drew closer, he offered the head to his father. "This is the head of Satsujin, the tiger that was responsible for killing the baby monkeys." Enma held the head as it continued to leak blood from its mouth and neck. "How do you know for certain?" Enma asked. "Because it told me so. Your suspicions were correct, father. It was enlightened by sage energy. It could speak like we do, and I personally witnessed it walk up a vertical surface with perfect chakra control. This is the target you were searching for. Enma smiled as he looked at the necklace around his son's neck and the pelt around his waist. I see you took for yourself a few trophies. Naruto nodded. I hope that's okay. I took a few for myself for my troubles, a sign of my victory and a sign of my graduation from apprenticehood. And I took the head as a trophy for you and all the monkeys who'd lost their child to this beast. Enma put his hand upon his son's shoulder. You have done well, Naruto. I am proud of you. You have truly earned the right to graduate from the apprenticehood I've had you under. You are now a trusted wielder of Monkey Sage Mode. Naruto nodded. Father, can I ask, what is it, Naruto? Naruto looked at his pelt. Satsujin told me that all tigers are users of Sage Mode, which is how they get their stripes. He claimed to be the Tiger Sage. Are there other sages like us? Enma looked around at the others who were gathered there. He smiled and brought him deep into the palace where he would sit him down and have the shaman check on Naruto's hands. Enma would begin to speak. For your question, the answer is yes. There are other sages like us. We are the sages of the jungle, the monkeys. But there are other enlightened creatures too. There are the sages of the mountains, the toads, and the sages of the caves, the snakes. And then, finally, there are the sages of the forest, the slugs. But we tend not to be too near to each other. Why is that? Naruto asked. Because we're guardians. Guardians? Guardians of what? Naruto asked. Enma grabbed the book and brought it over. We're guardians of the elemental flasks. Naruto was surprised. Elemental flasks? Enma nodded. The elemental flasks are a group of bowls that produce a liquid when infused with chakra. This liquid grants perfection over the chakra nature that it produces. It was said that there was once a flask for every chakra nature, including those considered Kekkei Genkai. But when the world began to fight for power, the flasks were stolen, fought over, and destroyed, and now only a few remain. That includes our own, the wood flask. Any who drink from this will gain control over wood release, a lost Kekkei Genkai from the age of the Sage of Six Paths. The toads possess the oil release flask, which gives its user the ability to generate oil. The snakes possess poison release, and the slugs possess soap release. These three are, like wood release, based around the primary chakra nature of water, but also possess a secondary nature that make them different. These releases have been protected for so long, and in the long history of the monkey sages, only one person was ever worthy of drinking from the wood flask, and that was Hashirama Senju, one that we sense possessed a deep connection to the Sage of Six Paths. He had an important job to do, to restore balance to not only the Macaw sages, but to the entire world, and proved himself worthy of it. Why have I never heard of this? Naruto asked. Because it's a secret to all but the great sages and chieftains. A poorly kept secret though, as it seems, as recently rumors have been going around that it exists and humans come in droves, weapons in hand, hoping to steal it from the temple. Enma thought about it for a moment. How would you like to have another mission, Naruto? Naruto looked up. A new mission? What is it? Humans continually come here to serve their own interests. It is all because of a map we gave Hashirama Senju. He brought it and various other texts about us back to his village, in hopes of being able to protect us when the time came. But it's obvious that it's now being used for evil. I want you to go to their village and take it back from them. Naruto nodded. Yes, sir. Enma smiled. Son, you make me prouder and prouder every day. Just as you wear that fur about your waist as a sign of pride in your accomplishments, I hold pride in you, in knowing that I was a part of what made you the person you are. If you complete this mission for us, the Macaw sages will forever be in your doubt, and you will be a hero to us all. Naruto smiled. When do I set out? Enma thought about it. We'll give it a few days. You've been journeying for long, hunting that tiger. I want you to have enough rest. You'll stay here a few days, eating well and sleeping well. Then, after that, you will set out to a large village to the west called Konoha. Naruto nodded. All right, I will take 3 days off to rest, and then begin my journey to the west. Enma nodded. Take all the time you need. It is no rush. And so Naruto rested, thinking what it must be like outside the jungle. He had never left this place before, so he was actually quite excited to do so. He wanted to see what these humans that the monkey people feared so much looked like. For 3 days, Naruto rested, only eating, sleeping, stretching a bit, and having his hands cared for by the shaman. By the time he was ready to go, his hands were healed and he was well rested. He would meet up with his father, who would be there to bid him goodbye. He had Naruto's pack ready. filled with food and some first aid supplies. He handed him that as well as a map as to where he was going. Naruto thanked his father. However, before letting him go, Enma pulled something out. Naruto looked at it. It was a black bow staff, the same that Enma had used to train Naruto in Maka's Sage mode. He held it in his hands and looked it over before looking up at Naruto. This staff is one passed down from generation to generation, and has been in the possession of every Monkey King since the time of the Sage of Six Paths. He handed it to Naruto, putting it in his hands. Naruto is startled. No, father, I can't take this. It's a priceless artifact to be held only by one who'd be called King of the Monkeys. Enma nodded. I know. He closed Naruto's grip on the staff. Naruto, I've chosen you to be my rightful heir. When one day my time as king ends, you will sit upon the throne of the Maka sages, and you will be Monkey King. Naruto was brought to tears. Father, I don't know what to say. Enma hugged Naruto. Say nothing, and accept the staff with humility and gratitude. He kissed his son's cheek. I love you, Naruto. Naruto wiped his cheeks and smiled. I love you too, father. He turned and began to leave. Hitting the ground, he began to follow the map out of the Monkey Sage region. The jungle was thick, and it was easy to get turned around and lost in here, which is why a map in and out was so valuable to people with little experience entering and exiting the jungle. Naruto made it out of the jungle and trekked across plains and through fields of open grass, through forests of trees, until eventually he found something. A dirt path. A road. Looking at the map, he realized that this must be the highway that his father had told him about. It was a straight shot now. All he had to do was follow this path toward the village. Back in the village, Enma was returning to his palace when suddenly he was approached by a monkey, a scout from the farthest reaches. Sir, dire news! Enma looked back. What is it? The monkey attempted to catch his breath. The Storm Sage! His bonds are breaking! Enma looked down for a moment. The gravity of this news was like a blanket of lead had been draped across his shoulders. Show me. As Naruto walked, he thought of his people and his father fondly, and about the great honor he was bestowed with. Could he really be the Monkey King? Was he truly worthy? All of these thoughts and questions passed through his mind when suddenly a voice called out to him. Hey, buddy. Naruto stopped and looked around. Over here. Naruto turned and looked. He saw a boy about his age tied to a tree upside down. He seemed to be bloodied and bruised. He looked like Naruto. He was another hairless monkey. Naruto walked to the tree and knelt down before proceeding to do a handstand so he could talk to the boy in proper orientation. The boy looked at him with confusion. What are you doing? What are you doing? Naruto asked him. You're tied to a tree upside down. The boy smiled with a bit of a scoffing giggle. He looked down, or up at his bonds. Yeah, I was walking down the road and a group of thieves came upon me. They beat me silly, stole everything I owned, and then tied me to a tree upside down. How rude, Naruto responded simply. Naruto flipped back right side up. Well, carry on, I suppose. The boy called out to Naruto. Wait, aren't you going to cut me down? Why? Naruto questioned. Why? The boy parroted. How about because all the blood is rushing to my head? I feel like it's going to pop. Naruto shrugged. Okay, if that's what you want. Naruto walked over and pulled his flint dagger from out its sheath and began to cut the rope, freeing the boy. The boy fell on his head before rolling onto his face. Naruto simply watched him tumble a bit. The boy then stood and dusted himself off. Thanks. Means a lot to me. Don't mention it, Naruto said, putting his blade back. The boy extended his hand. Hi, I'm Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto took the boy's hand and shook it. I am Naruto of the Heavenly Uzumaki stamp. The boy looked at the tattoo that was present on Naruto's midsection. So you're named after your tattoo? What, don't you have a clan name? Naruto shook his head. What, do you have one? Sasuke nodded. Yeah, it's Uchiha. Naruto's eyes widened. Oh, I thought you said Uchiwa. I thought you were named after one of those Iron Fan things. A gun by Uchiwa? Well, so you're not named for an Iron Fan? Naruto asked. Sasuke thought about it for a second. Huh, maybe that's how clan names are formed. He returned his attention to Naruto with a smile. Well, regardless, it's a pleasure to meet you, Naruto of the Heavenly Uzumaki stamp. Just call me Naruto. Sasuke nodded. Alright, and you can just call me Sasuke. Naruto turned around and began to walk off. Sasuke walked up next to him. So, where are you going, Naruto? Naruto looked down at his map. To a place called Konoha. Oh, really? Sasuke asked. What a coincidence. That's where I was going too. Why are you going there? Sasuke asked. To take back something that belongs to my people, Naruto responded without looking at Sasuke. You? Sasuke thought about it. I'm going there because I don't have anywhere else to go. I guess I just need a place to belong. Why don't you just live in the jungle with the macaws? Sasuke was caught off guard by that remark. I can think of a number of reasons. Naruto shrugged. Well, if you're going to Konoha, then allow me to protect you. There'll be no thieves attacking you so long as I'm here. Sasuke scoffed. I don't think any thieves would want to attack me now. I'm flat broke. And so the two continued to walk until eventually they saw it. The gate. It bore the hiragana of it for hermitage. Naruto stepped in and saw the place. Wow, there are so many bald macaws here. But my father told me that this place is rife with humans. Sasuke looked over. Wait, what? This place is filled with humans. Everyone you see is a human, not a hairless monkey. Naruto was confused as he looked down at his own body. Wait, then why do hairless macaws look like humans? Sasuke was stunned. They don't. They look like humans. Everyone you see here is a human, including me and you. Naruto is shocked. I'm a human? Sasuke nodded. We all are. Naruto was too stunned to say anything. He was confused. Sasuke looked around. Well, what do you say we find ourselves somewhere to stay for the night? And that's where I plan to call this what if for now. I'll be perfectly honest, when I first started this what if, I was a little worried about how the story would go. But I'll tell you, this what if video has so far been one of the most fun that I've had the pleasure of making for you. I hope you all had as much fun watching this video as I had making it. If you did, tell us about it. Tell us what you think and what you'd like to see happen in the next video. Don't forget to click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It would mean a lot to us if you did. And don't forget to ring the bell to be notified when we drop more content just like this. And be sure to check out one or all of these videos up on your screen right now. Until next time, peace.